So
We are a bit confused about a CFA and an EFA and PCA, where, as far as we've understood, an EFA comes before a CFA, but we do not have to do a CFA. Is that correct?
you don't have to do, no, necessarily you don't have to do, but it depends on what kind of scale are you talking about. But what kind of battery of items, what kind of psychometric construct? Is it something that you have borrowed from previous literature, or is it something that you have developed yourself?
In terms of the scales we use, do you mean?
Yeah, if it's something, if you measure, I don't know, social norms, okay, even you use a scale that already exists and you have borrowed it from another paper, then in principle you wouldn't have to do an EFA. You would only have to do a CFA.
Okay.
But ideally these two go together. Only if you develop something out of your own research, like from a blank piece of paper, then you have to, in a way, like you're obliged to do an EFA. But it doesn't hurt to do it anyway, because sometimes even established instruments don't conform to the factorial pattern that we expect them to, even though, yeah, they should, ideally, if they are tested and validated and all that. But yeah, first you have to do an EFA. First you have to do an EFA or a PCA. It's principal components or factor analysis. There is a difference in the math behind it. And in the overall logic of why do you use one instead of the other. But for the sake of simplicity, you can use either, or the ones that you have been taught in the course. If it's a PCA, do a PCA. If it's an EFA, do an EFA. It's the same thing, like the procedure-wise. Okay, it's the same thing.
Okay.
And interpretation-wise, and then you have to do a CFA after.
Okay.
Yeah,
understood. So in terms of what we're going to click inside SPSS, that is the same between an EFA and a PCA. Because we've seen a lot of other people have asked a similar question in the question sheet in terms of all the videos uploaded are EFA. Yeah.
It's the same thing. I mean, you get the same graphs, you get the same scatter plots and so forth and so forth. You do the same rotations and so forth. The problem is that the difference is that there's a difference in the logic behind PCA and EFA.
Okay.
And there is just do what you were taught. It doesn't matter. Procedurally, it's the same, and you get a very fine factorial, maybe even the same factorial result, even though sometimes it can differ.
Okay.
Sometimes it can, but more often than not, it's usually the same result you get.
Okay, cool. And then our other question is in terms of using existing scales in literature. We definitely aim to do that, but I think for a few of the questions we perhaps didn't, or a few of the factors, we didn't have enough items. So I think there's a couple of questions we're thinking, oh, we don't know if we really asked enough about this. What do we do if that turns out to be the case? Do we just scrap that from the whole analysis?
I wouldn't suggest you scrap anything from your analysis. You use it and you acknowledge the limitation in its use, and you acknowledge that you have to be careful with the conclusions or any kind of effects that you might detect that include this variable. But what do you mean when you say you can't measure it? How many items have you used?
Well, I know that they say the golden standard is 3 items per factor or construct, isn't that
ideally right? It should be something like that.
And I think one especially, we've only got like 1.5 questions asking about it. So we
1.5 question, how can that be?
Well, because it's like really a different kind of question, but we thought they may be perceived the same and could perhaps be bundled somehow. But we still have to, honestly, we're really at the starting point of our analysis because we did qual first. But yeah, that's just why we figured we'll ask you all the what ifs in case we turn out to see, oh, damn, we didn't really ask enough.
No, you use everything you have. You don't scrap anything.
Okay, cool.
And but in case you have some sort of förbehåll, what's the name of that? Can someone help me with this in English, in Danish? Förbehåll in English?
I understand that actually, because I'm Norwegian, so I understand.
You're Norwegian, okay. So you get it, yeah, with you get it with some sort of Still, I need to find the word. I might need to use that again.
I don't even know what that would be.
With caution, okay.
Yeah.
With caution, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you acknowledge that in your limitation section, but you don't scrap. I don't suggest you scrap anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. I think they were our main questions. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.